really surprised that we do not see something located there in the state of Oklahoma. I really, really thought OKC was going to do
Western
something to add to this group.
Bill, let's get into that here. The Knicks picking up Emmanuel Mudiay from Denver in a 3-team deal, and Denver gets a veteran backup point guard with Devin Harris here. We got another point guard on the move. A lot of young point guards moving in the last couple of years. Elfrid Payton goes to Phoenix from Orlando. That means Aaron Gordon stays, Vucevic stays. Not much action there from Orlando other than Elfrid Payton goes to Phoenix.
I like this pickup for Ryan McDonough. I really think this is a good swing at a high-variance point guard who's got great size and came into the league as somebody that you thought was going to be a plus defender. I wish he didn't play with so much hair in his eyes, but that's okay.
You're just jealous.
I am. I freely admit it. Have follicle jealousy, follicle envy, I suppose.
There you go.
He has a chance to be a very good fit with Devin Booker.
Yeah.
And so I look at that as the type of swing a young team with all that offensive orientation that they have. TJ Warren can score with the best of them off the bench, starts sometimes as well, and can really put the ball in the basket. But they needed somebody who could get other people involved and defend. So it's an interesting fit and kind of low under the radar a little bit of a pickup. But I mean, you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, he's played very well this year, I think.
I think he means with the hair.
I mean about the hair.
Oh,
I mean, look at that thing.
who am I to challenge a man's sartorial choices?
So relatively speaking, these are smaller deals. But what about some of the bigger name guys that did not get dealt? Let's start with the Clippers here. And D.A., what do you think the intent was coming into today to try and deal DeAndre Jordan or not, because he's still a member of the Clippers?
Well, look, I think that they would be, you know, like with any really good player, you have to really be blown away to move somebody that is important to you, like DeAndre Jordan is to the Clippers. And whatever his contract situation is going to be going forward, the fact remains is that he is still a guy that is a formidable defensive player. He's not as good as he was, but he's still awfully good. He's still awfully good at this, and you have to account for that. And so that type of player has value around the league. So they looked around. They tried to. They took offers from people, but again, I think it takes two to tango. And if you want young players and picks coming back, well, I can tell you in the case of Washington, for example, they weren't going to trade Kelly Oubre for DeAndre Jordan as part of a package. As much as they like the idea of DeAndre Jordan, they like the idea of Kelly Oubre better with a far less money paid out going forward than you would have had to pay to DeAndre Jordan.
Well, Jordan was harder to do for so many teams because of his salary. The one deal that we thought would definitely get done to someone, because so many teams were interested in Tyreke Evans, but it didn't. He's still a member of the Memphis Grizzlies despite being benched the last couple weeks in preparation of being traded. What happened, Griff?
So, again, this is where Chris Wallace has way more information than we on this set have. Maybe they had a conversation that tells them they have a likelihood to sign Tyreke at the number they'll have available. He's played really, really well in that market, went to school in that market. He may truly enjoy it there, and they may know well more than we do about re-signability. If that's not the case, having the conversation with him about coming back after you shut him down healthy and told him he was being traded, that's a conversation I wouldn't want to have. That's a tough one.
Let's talk about this buyout market, which is going to start if it hasn't already. And so many of the teams that either made deals today or didn't looking to this buyout market. I want to get to you on Tony Allen. He's dealt with injuries this year, and you mentioned OKC hadn't made a move yet. We hear him linked to the Thunder.
Yeah, so I just look at Tony Allen as really an ideal fit in what they've lost for Robertson. That defensive orientation, the physicality that he brings, and the fact that he doesn't need to be able to score there, and frankly, that's not his game.
Yeah, I think that's an obvious place for him to potentially go for the reasons that Griff mentioned. And he's also a veteran. Yeah. He's a guy that's been in playoff games, that won a championship. He brings that type of credibility to the locker room, and those you got some alphas in that locker room, starting with Russell Westbrook. So a guy that's coming in that's going to play big minutes has to be a guy that they respect. They will respect Tony Allen immediately. If that does happen, I certainly think that's a good spot for him.
What about Joe Johnson?
Joe Johnson, a lot of people, Houston, Golden State, Washington, a lot of people are going to be interested in Joe Johnson because he's a guy, again, he's been in 1 million playoff games. Last year impacted a series that they won against the Clippers with his play. And yeah, he's ISO Joe and all that. But look, the bottom line is The game slows down in the playoffs. You need a guy who can do this in the playoffs. When the game's on the line, back somebody down and get two. That's what he does. He's still awfully good at it. And as a potential small ball power forward, he could be really good for a lot of teams.
I can picture him in a few different settings, but I get kind of excited if I'm a Warriors fan thinking about Joe at the 4 generating offense while they're running their guard splits on the weak side. That could be a lot of fun to watch.
Especially with Iguodala struggling the last couple of weeks, without question. Well, guys, apparently half day for you. You're done. That's it.
Done? No, I'm not done.
You some timer, D.
I got more.
David Griffin, David Aldridge, guys, tremendous today. Thank you so much for your perspective and insight on what was a wild trade deadline day. They've been on the air since 1 o'clock Eastern. We do have basketball to talk about.
Yes, we do.
We're going to go live
Washington,
from
Boston.
Chris Webber is going to join us live from D.C. And we've got Kenny the Jet Smith who joins us as well. We're getting you set for the TNT doubleheader.